Okay, so we are here today and we are going to discuss throughput accounting, which was one of the many specialist cost accounting techniques that we were supposed to study. The first one was activity-based costing. We spent some time doing that. Then we did target costing and life cycle costing. This is the fourth of the total five topics that are there under specialist cost accounting techniques. Now, throughput accounting is an approach that identifies factors that limit an organization from reaching its goal and then focuses on simple measures that drive behavior in key areas towards reaching organization goals. Now, throughput accounting and limiting factors, both of these topics focus heavily on understanding what is it that stops you from reaching your ultimate goal. What is a constraint? That constraint, throughput accounting in a modified way is also called the theory of constraints. Throughput accounting limiting factors are very closely connected with each other. When I say something is a limiting factor, when I say time is a limiting factor, what I'm saying is that if I had enough time, I would be able to achieve my goals. If I had enough machine hours, I would be able to achieve my goals. If I had enough material, for example, I would be able to achieve my goals. Anything that is in limited quantity is known as a limiting factor. And the focus of our analysis now is going to shift to what are these limiting factors? What is stopping the organization from reaching its ultimate goal? And how do we take these factors into consideration and remove these constraints that are basically acting as a hindrance in the achievement of objectives? For that, we'll first of all have a smaller discussion on throughput accounting and then develop it further when we do limiting factors. So, what is throughput? Throughput is a modified way of expressing contribution. Okay, throughput is a modified way and the formula for throughput is sales revenue minus the direct material cost. Okay, throughput is sales revenue minus the direct material cost. Throughput is a modified way because see, normally when you express contribution, it is sales minus all the variable cost. Here, they are treating only material cost as variable. Throughput, which is a measure of profitability, indicates how much profit is available for recovering all the fixed costs. In the short term period, apart from material costs, all other costs are considered to be fixed in nature. In a certain sense, this does make sense. If you think of the short run period of time, what happens in the short run period of time? In the short run, it's not so easy to fire workers. Neither is it so easy to hire new people into your system. Trust me when I say this, hiring people or getting the right set of people for the job is one of the most difficult things I have ever done. Finding the right people, even if I say I want to hire a person to, basically do some graphics work for me, that activity takes a very long time. And I would have to spend at least 2 to 3 months to find the right person for the job. So, in the short run, whatever is the labor cost, there is no new addition to it. I have to basically plan for it immediately. If I say I want a worker from tomorrow, that is not going to happen. Similarly, firing people from the job or removing people from the job also is not so easy. I have to give them a notice. I cannot just tell them, okay, don't come for the job from tomorrow. I have to give them a certain notice. So, in the short period of time, even labor cost, so far we studied that material labor, everything is, variable in nature. But in real life, if you observe, labor cost in the short run tends to be fixed. So, the calculation of contribution in this model has been slightly modified. What they are saying is throughput is sales revenue minus the direct material cost. The aim of throughput accounting is to maximize this measure of profitability while simultaneously reducing operating expenses and inventory. ठीक है. So, if I want to reduce my operating expenses, uh, one way for that would be to first of all have a better prediction of the total demand. Once I have a better prediction of the demand, my material cost expenses would also flow in that particular fashion. Another point I would definitely want to understand is that when I am doing these calculations, if I can plan my production for the next couple of months, I can also plan my labor requirement, and thereby I can reduce any wastage or any excess hiring. The goal is achieved by determining what factors prevent the throughput from becoming higher. This constraint is called a bottleneck. For example, there may be a limited number of machine hours or labor hours in so anything that stops me from achieving my ultimate objective is called a bottleneck. And why is it called a bottleneck? We'll get into it. The goal is achieved by determining what factors prevent the throughput from becoming higher. This constraint is called a bottleneck. Now observe this. This is a bottle. You have a vertical bottle. This is an inverted horizontal bottle. Now this bottle has a lot of water, but when I want to drink water directly from the bottle, the flow is controlled because you see the neck of the bottle is relatively small. You look at human body also. Till here it is broad. Okay. And as it tapers here, my neck is small. Similarly, for this bottle, the body of the bottle is larger, but the neck of the bottle is small. So if I as I invert the bottle, okay, and I want the water or the contents of the bottle to fall, they will not fall at a rapid pace. The pace of falling of water will get reduced because this neck is small. See, it's a small neck. The water comes with force, but then it has to pass through the small neck. So the small neck prevents you from reaching your ultimate objective. What is the ultimate objective? To empty the bottle. This slows it down. I'm not saying this ends it. All I'm saying is it slows the entire process down. See, I have a glass here. Okay, it has my green tea. You see, the whole glass has the same diameter throughout. So I will not do it. But if I were to invert it, the contents will fall off immediately. But if I were to invert the bottle, the contents will take some time to empty. Why? Because the neck of the bottle is small. It prevents the flow of water from reaching its full force potential. Okay, so anything in the organization which prevents me from reaching my full length potential is basically a bottleneck because it is not allowing me to reach where I want to reach. Say, for example, this is a manufacturing process. Machine A can handle 20 pieces per hour, machine B can handle 5 pieces per hour, machine C can handle 20 pieces per hour. Now, A produces 20 per hour. The output of A becomes the input for B, but B can produce only 5. So the entire activity slows down. A is capable to make 20, C is capable to handle 20, B can handle only 5. So the whole process slows down. This slowing down happens in machinery B. So machinery B is a constraint. Machinery B is stopping me from reaching my full potential. And what exactly is my full potential? My full potential is making 20 units per hour. Machine B stops me from reaching that true potential. So machine B is a bottleneck. In throughput accounting, we are going to look at different scenarios. Of course, throughput will be, one thing that we calculate, but our focus will be on what stops me from reaching my full potential, full capacity. That something is known as a bottleneck, as you can see here. The theory of constraints is basically, identifying what stops me from reaching my full potential and then how to remove those bottlenecks is what we are going to study. The first question, guys, is a very interesting question. I am sure this will throw a lot of light on, how you have understood things so far, and it will help you to develop your understanding better. There are a couple of assumptions in throughput accounting and the theory of constraints question that we are going to do. Once we do the questions, I'll tell you what those assumptions are and if there are any limitations in this process. Okay. First question is a long one. This is not something that you will encounter. All of this will not be there in one question in the paper. It will be split. through a small MCQ बोलो या in a section B question, where there are multiple uh, ingredients to it. ठीक है. Now, the question is, what is P Limited's best course of action? The above options are not mutually exclusive. So your answer should consider combinations as well as looking at them individually. Look at the question. Demand for a product made by P Limited is 500 units per week. The product is made in three consecutive processes A, B, and C. Three consecutive, one consecutive means one after the other. First A, then B, then C. The process, the name is given to you and they have given you the capacity per week. Capacity of process A is 400 per week. Capacity of product process B is 300 per week. Capacity of product C is 250 per week. The long run benefit to P Limited of increasing sales of its product is a present value of $25,000 per additional unit sold per week. Long run benefit to P Limited of increasing the sales is present value. We'll not spend too much time understanding present value right now, but just the fact that the benefit to the company is 25,000 per additional unit sold per week. Investigations have revealed three possibilities. Option 1, invest in a new machine for process A, which will increase its capacity to 550 units per week. This will cost 1 million. Option 2, replace the machine in process B with an upgraded machine costing 1.5 million. This will double the capacity of process B. Okay. And buy an additional machine for process C costing 2 million. This will increase the capacity in C by 300 units per week. The question is, you have now been asked that some data is given to you. They are asking you, there are three consecutive processes. What is P Limited's best course of action? Should it go for option 1 or option 2 or option 3? Okay. Pay attention to how we are tackling this question. Now, there are three processes involved in making the product. A, B, and C. There is A, there's B, there's C. Okay, and what is the word here? They are three consecutive processes, which means they are one after the other. What does that mean? That means output of process A becomes input of process B. Okay, A makes something, from A it goes into process B. Okay, from A it goes into process B. Then output of process B becomes input of process C. They are consecutive, right? They are one after the other. It will move from A to B and then it will move from B to C. This question will help you to understand theory of constraints in a very, very effective manner. So please pay attention. And whatever is made in process C now, that is the final process, it is, and that is the final product. Okay. Process C is the final process and the output that comes out of process C is the final product. Okay. Output that comes out of process C is the final product. Now, what kind of processes could these be? These could be, say you are thinking about a printing press. In a printing press, process A could be printing, B could be binding, C could be packing and dispatch. Okay. For example, process A could be printing, After, see, binding happens after printing. So process A was printing, process B could be binding, and process C could be, what could process C be? Process C could be packing and dispatch. ठीक है. A could be printing, B could be binding, C could be packing and dispatch. So A makes how many units? 400 units. B makes how many units? 300 units. And C makes how many units? 250 units. ठीक है. Output of printing, output of process A, output of process A is 400 units, which will become input for process B. But process B can handle only 300 units. Okay. Although A gives you 400, B can handle only 400. So B has become, something which is slowing down my entire operation. And even if process A gives you 400, because of B, you can only move ahead with 300 units. And while process B gives you 300 units, C can handle only 250 units. Even if A gives you 400 units, process B can handle only 300. So the organization gets slowed down. The organization gets slowed down due to process B. And while B can produce 300 units, C can handle only 250 units. So, can I say that the organization gets slowed down further due to process C? Now, we have to ask ourselves the question, who is my biggest problem? That is my bottleneck. Who slows me down the most? Who is my biggest problem? Who stops me the most from reaching my objective? Process C. Because although A can make 400 and B can still process 300, process C slows me down the most. So process C is my bottleneck. So while A can make 400 units per month, ठीक है, B can process 300 units per month, the overall activity gets slowed down the most, gets slowed down the most due to process C. So process C is my bottleneck. Process C slows me down the most, and anyone that slows me down the most is my bottleneck. We spend half an hour on this question, for example. It will ensure that the other questions which follow after this, they become the easiest. The understanding becomes easy for you. Okay. So if I wanted to show this to you, through a diagram, I would have shown it to you this way. Okay. You see this? A can do the most, 400. A can make these many units. A is okay. A doesn't have a problem. After A, you have process B. B slows you down even further. B's capacity is to make how many? 300 units per month. But the major problem, the cause of all my worries, who is the cause of all my worries? C is the cause of all my worries. See, C slows me down the most. C is my bottleneck. So if I have identified that C is my bottleneck, I'll have to deal with a process C first. And what does process what are the three options? Option 1 deals with something for process A, option 2 deals with some activity for process B, and option 3 deals with doing something for process C. Option 3 says buy an additional machine for process C costing 2 million. This will increase capacity in C by 300 units per week. Okay. So I wouldn't call it option 1. I would call it step 1. Step 1 in bottleneck analysis. C has been identified as the bottleneck. So we should do something to remove the issue with process C. Option 3 gives us a way out. If we pick option 3, क्या होगा? If we pick option 3, we can buy an additional machine for process C and that will increase the output. If we pick option 3, we buy a, what do? We buy an additional machine for process C. If we pick option 3, we buy an additional machine for process C. This increases the output of process C. ठीक है? This increases the output of process C by 300 units per week. ठीक है? This is 5. The demand for product is 500 units for P Limited. C was slowing it down. C was restricting the output to 250 units per week. Now, what we have done is we have purchased an additional machine for process C, which is increasing the capacity of the process by 300 units per week. ठीक है? Now, if I so here what I have to understand is I know that there is someone who is if I know my problem is process C, then I should work towards removing the problem in process C. Na? If I invest in new machine for process A, it will increase the capacity to 550 units. 400 ka 550 ho jayega. How does that help? Doesn't help. If I go, because limitation is still in process C. If I go ahead with option 2, replace the machine in process B with an upgraded machine, this will double the capacity, 300 ka 600. How does that help? Process C is still slowing me down. So my solution should be oriented towards finding a solution for process C, and that option is buy a new machine, purchase it, pay 2 million for it, and the capacity increases by 300 units. This increases the output of process C by 300 units per week. What is the updated output? Updated output is 250 plus 300, that is 550 units. Okay, this is the first step. And how much am I going to spend? Cost of new machine is 2 million. Okay. After this happens, okay, after I do this, what does my updated schedule look like? What does my updated schedule look like? ठीक है? Process A, B, and C. A and B have not changed, so 400, 300, 400, 300. But what is the, if I purchase the new machine and apply that for process C, the output goes up by 300 units. Where will I be? I will be at 550 units. So this is what my updated schedule looks like. Output A, B, and C, 400, 300, 550. This is the updated schedule. So is this solving all my problems? The demand for my product is 500 units. Has it solved all my problems? Look at it carefully. You solved the issue in C, but now B has become a problem. If you observe, process B is your pain point as it is restricting your output. Okay, process B, see earlier C was slowing you down. Now B is slowing you down. You see? Now, so after I buy the new machine for process C, its output goes up to 550. But after doing that, process B becomes a pain point. Why does process B become a pain point? Because process C can handle 550 units and A can make 400 units. B can handle only 300, and this process slows the organization down. Okay. B can handle only 300 units and this process slows down the entire organization. And let's understand what happens after I make that investment in process C. Okay. After I purchase the new machine in process C, what is the profit situation? See, A can make 400, B can process 300, C can process 550. Your overall business output is going to be restricted at 300 only. You won't be able to go beyond that. So after I purchase the new machine in process C, I can say bottleneck in process C has been removed. After this, what happens? Output of the week is 300. And I'm going to write it here. Now, restricted due to process C. Okay. Now restricted due to process, not C, sorry. Now restricted due to process B. B has slowed me down. What is my earlier? When I did not remove the bottleneck in process C, my output per week was 250. Now my output per week is 300. Why? Because this has a capacity of 550, this has a capacity of 400. The process organization overall can now make only 300 units per week. Okay. Output of the week is 300. So, and before the bottleneck was removed, before the bottleneck was removed, output per week was 250 when C was the bottleneck. Okay. So, what is the additional output achieved? Additional output achieved after removing the additional output achieved, and I'll write it in brackets. Additional output achieved after removing bottleneck in C. How much more are you able to produce now? 300 minus 250. This is the incremental output. Okay. And that means additional benefit earned 50 into 25,000. How much is it? 12 lakh 50,000. What is this 25,000? The long run benefit to P of increasing sale of its product is a present value of 25,000 per additional unit sold per week. So per unit sold, you are making 250. Okay. So 50 units into 25,000 per unit. 12 lakh 50,000. This is the additional benefit. But what is the cost of machine C? See, additional benefit earned after removing the bottleneck is 12 lakh 50,000. But what is cost of the new machine? Cost of the new machine is 2 million, right? So additional benefit earned is 12 lakh 50,000. Cost of the new machine is 20 lakh. What is the net outcome? I am spending 20 lakhs to earn an additional benefit of 12 lakh 50,000. The net outcome is basically 7 lakh 50,000 loss. So I cannot stop after removing bottleneck in process C. I have to move, move on and remove other bottlenecks. Okay. I removed the bottleneck in C by implementing option 3, but that wasn't enough. It wasn't enough at all because it is leading me to a net loss situation of 7 lakh 50,000, and that has not helped me. Now I have to remove the bottleneck in process B. So this is step 2 in bottleneck analysis. We removed the bottleneck in process C. We remove the bottleneck in process C. But after that, the whole organization got slowed down due to process B. ठीक है, ये देख लो. The whole organization got slowed down due to process B. So we should now endeavor to remove the bottleneck in process B. Okay, I want you to read this line now. Look at option 3 you have tackled. Now you don't have to worry about option 3. Look at option 1 and option 2. invest in a new machine for process A, but we don't want to do anything for process A. Our problem is process B. So we should look at option 2. Replace the machine in process B with an upgraded machine costing 1.5 million. This will double the capacity of process B. The bottleneck in process B can be removed by doing what? Replacing the machine with an upgraded machine. By replacing the machine with an upgraded machine. What will happen because of that? It will double the capacity of process B. It will double the capacity of process B. Right now, process B is capable of making 300 units. After I upgrade the process, I will have the ability to make 600 in process B. ठीक है, double of 300 is 600. So what is my updated production schedule after this? Updated production schedule. It's this 300 becomes twice. That is 600. And now if you observe, B makes 600, C makes 550. Now A is the bottleneck. Okay. After I have upgraded the machine in process B, it can make 600 units per week. Process C can make 550 units per week. But the organization level output gets slowed down by process A now, which can only make 400 units per week. ठीक है, organization level output gets slowed down by process A now, which can only make 400 units per week. ठीक है, so now you know that the next bottleneck you have to deal with is process A. But after I purchase the new machine in process C, ठीक है, after the machine in process B gets updated, output after the machine in process B gets updated. ठीक है, इसको यहाँ पे लिखते हैं. Let's do the analysis here. After the machine in process B gets updated, organization level output per week restricted due to bottleneck in process A. Organization level output per week, B can make 600, C can make 550, A can make 400. ठीक है. A can make 400. At the previous stage, in the stage one of your analysis, step one of your analysis, your output was up to 300 from 250. You had brought it up to 300 when you had removed the bottleneck in process C. So you were operating at 300 units. Now, after you removed the bottleneck in process B, the output has gone up to 400 units per week. Okay. And output at the previous level of operations is 300. Okay. So what is the additional output achieved? What is the additional output achieved due to removal of bottleneck in B? What is the additional output that you have been able to make? You have been able to make 100 units. So what is the additional benefit on 100 units into 25,000 per unit? Okay. This is the additional benefit that you have earned. Now, what is the additional cost? This is the additional benefit earned from improving process B. Earned from improving process B. Okay. Additional benefit earned from improving process B is 25 lakh. Okay. And what is the additional cost incurred for improving process B? For improving process B, what is the additional cost? 1.5 million. Okay. Additional benefit, additional cost. So what is the net benefit or net position bolo? Net position from improving process B. This minus this. 10 lakhs. Okay. This is additional benefit minus this. And what was the outcome at the previous stage? Outcome at the previous stage was basically a loss of 7,50,000. Okay, outcome at the previous stage was a loss of 7,50,000. So net benefit slash loss. Chalo, at least now after improving process B, you are in a better position. Have a look at this once. But still, if you observe, process A is slowing everything down. So last thing that you are going to do, step 3 in bottleneck analysis. Step 3 in bottleneck analysis. We removed the bottleneck in C and B, but now the whole organization is getting slowed down because of process A. We removed the bottleneck in process B in, sorry, process C first. Process C in step 1 and process B in step 2. But now at an organization level, we are getting slowed down due to process A. ये लिख लो एक बार, एक रह गया. This is 600. Process B can make 600 and process C can make 550. We are slowed down due to process A, which can make just 400. So now we should work towards removing the bottleneck in process A. ठीक है. For that, we'll have to go ahead with option 1. Invest in a new machine for process A, which will increase its capacity to 550 units per week. ठीक है. Invest in a new machine which will increase its capacity to 550 units per week. Yeah. So, what was the solution for option 1? Invest in a new machine for process A. Invest in a new machine for process A. It will increase its output to 550. ठीक है. So now my updated production schedule. What is my updated production schedule now? After I invest in new machine for product A, this is 550, this is 600, and this is 550. The maximum demand for the product is, if you look at the first line, demand for product made by P is 550, is 500 units per week. Demand for product made, demand for the product is 500 units per week. So now no process is the bottleneck. Maximum output, no, now no process is the bottleneck because no process prevents the organization from reaching its full potential of servicing the वीकली डिमांड ऑफ 500. अब उससे ज्यादा डिमांड ही नहीं है तो यू कांट मेक मोर देन दैट. ठीक है. सो जस्ट गोइंग टू कॉपी दिस फॉर अ रीजन. वी विल मेक चेंजेस इन दिस एक एक करके. ठीक है. आफ्टर न्यू मशीन is after new machine is introduced in process A. Organization level output per week after all bottlenecks have been removed. 500. Output at the previous level of operations, 400. Just give me 1 second, guys. Okay. So, additional output achieved due to removal of bottleneck in A is another 100. Additional benefit earned from uh, investing in new machine for A. ठीक है. What is the additional benefit earned by investing in new machine for A? You have earned 100 additional units into 25,000 per unit. That is 25 lakh. Additional cost for new machine for process A. न्यू मशीन फॉर प्रोसेस ए का कॉस्ट कितना है? एडिशनल कॉस्ट 1 million है. So net position from improving A is 15 lakh. 25 lakh additional benefit minus 10 lakh additional cost. That was 15 lakh. ठीक है. Now the outcome at the previous stage. What was the outcome at the previous stage? Outcome at the previous stage was a profit of 2,50,000 net benefit position. So abhi after all of that, the net benefit is 17,50,000. So after removing all the bottlenecks in C, B, and then A, our position improves with a net benefit of 17 lakh 50,000. ठीक है. Okay, now I'm going to let you read all of this in one go so that you grasp the whole question in its entirety. ठीक है.